to Talking Junk. Talking Junk. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Look, I know it's been a long time, but we have so much to talk about. So thank you for coming back to Talking Junk. So let's start off like this. Have you ever felt a surge of anger so intense it scared you? A flash of heat that rises from your chest and you just want to scream or punch a wall or just disappear? If you have, you are now in the right place. Welcome to Talking Junk, the show where we don't just vent, we evolve. I'm Jason Melendez. I am now a certified life coach, a speaker, and the author of Shut the Junk Up, Hothead's Guide to Quieting the Chaos and Unleashing Your Calm. And for this entire season, this new season, we're rolling up our sleeves and getting our hands dirty. We are unpacking the emotional clutter that's been living rent-free in your head for years, some of you even decades. Today, we're starting with the big one, the one nobody wants to talk about. And really, it's what my book is about. So most of the topics this season will be on anger. We're going to talk about why it's not the enemy. It's not the enemy that everyone makes it out to be. And we'll discover how rage is what happens when we ignore the fire alarm. Let me turn my fan off and let's get into it. So, what is the junk, right? Although all right, let's just start like this with the basics. The name of this show is Talking Junk, right? So what is junk? Here on the show, we just normalized it as anything anybody has to talk about. Their professional lives, their backgrounds. But here, on this episode, and for this season, emotional junk is all the clutter we carry around us every single day. It's the dusty boxes of old beliefs you inherit from your family. It's the buried trauma from things that happened a lifetime ago, but they feel like they just happened this morning. It's the reactive habits that you swear you'll break, but you keep falling back into. It's the voice of a critical parent that still echoes in your head when you make a big mistake. It's the sting of a past failure that stops you from trying something new. It's the automatic yes that comes out of your mouth when every part of you is screaming no. It's the stuff we absorbed from the world around us, the stuff we buried to survive. And fuck, is it loud. But here's the twist. The one thing you want to take away from today, and you hear nothing else. Your junk is not your enemy. It's your signal. It's your map. It's trying to tell you something. A huge part of where this junk comes from can be traced back to what experts call ACEs. Adverse Childhood Experience. It's a clinical sounding term for something very, very real. ACEs are things like experiencing abuse or neglect, witnessing violence, or growing up in a home with substance abuse or mental health problems. These experiences don't just create bad memories, they shape how our nervous systems respond to stress forever. They determine how we regulate our emotions, or if we can regulate them at all. They wire the core beliefs we have about ourselves and our worth. So if you've ever felt like you're overreacting to a small problem, if you've ever been told you're too sensitive or too much, chances are you're not overreacting. You're reacting to years and years of unprocessed junk that the current situation just happened to trigger. For me, my junk caught fire. It's a little bit of grief. You guys know my story. I lost my son. Everything was rewired. Totally rewired. Look, I can't even say rewired right now. That's how rewired my brain was. The world didn't make sense anymore. My own mind didn't make sense. And sometimes it still don't. I didn't just feel the pain, which is what everyone expects. I felt rage, a deep, burning, foundational rage that I had never experienced before, which is it's probably a little bit of a lie, because rage has been my curse, has been my ace my whole life. And I didn't know where it came from. I was angry at the world, at myself, at the universe. I would snap, and still do, at some of the smallest things. A red light felt like a personal attack. Someone speaking too loudly felt like a threat. My fuse wasn't just short, it was gone. And that's when I realized the most dangerous lie we all tell ourselves, that silence is peace. Because it's not. It's suppression. And suppressed junk, ignored junk, always finds a way to explode. You can't argue with that. These things here, they're very important for you to understand. So this brings me to the most important metaphor in my book and in my coaching practice. New to this life, I'm still looking for clients, but I want you to think of your anger as a fire alarm. A fire alarm. What is a fire alarm designed to do? It's designed to be loud, obnoxious, impossible to ignore. It's an urgent, piercing signal that something is wrong. There's a danger that needs your attention right now. That is your anger. That is a signal that a boundary has been crossed, a value has been violated, or a need is not being met. And it's just information. Now think about what happens when that alarm goes off. You don't get mad, right? You don't get mad at the fire alarm. Or do you? You didn't yell at the fire alarm, call it toxic, call it a problem. You're looking for that fire. Rage is your fire. Rage is the destructive, consuming, out of control inferno that happens when you've ignored the alarm for too long. The alarm isn't broken. It's been ignored. Maybe you've been ignoring it for years. Every time it went off, you just took the batteries out. You numb it with food, with alcohol, with work, with TV, with weed. You pretend you don't hear it. You tell yourself, I'm fine, it's fine. Everything's fine. But taking the batteries out of the alarm doesn't put it out. It doesn't. It keeps the fire going. The fire stays inside. The smoke's still building. The heat is still rising. When we suppress anger, we don't make it go away. We just let the pressure build in a concealed container. And eventually, that container is going to explode. And that's rage. That's the flash of heat. That's the screaming match in the car. That's the broken plate in the kitchen. That's the wildfire. And that's what we're here to prevent. Not by silencing the alarm, by learning how to answer it. Now, real quick, I just want to talk to you about this episode, right? This episode is not only brought to you by Shut the Junk Up, the hothead's guide to quieting the chaos and unleashing your calm, available right now in Barnes & Nobles. This episode is not only sponsored by Dizzle. We have a new sponsor in town. He is sponsoring this episode. It is a clothing company by the name of Oddball. You heard me? Oddball. Take you to the website right now. You go to lifeisodd.net and you see these two signature shirts here. The one oddball in white and the oddball in black that we got on right here. These shirts are high quality cotton. You're not going to find anywhere else. And the designs speak for themselves. They're just fucking odd. So if your life is just as odd as ours, head over to lifeisodd.net and pick you up one of these shirts. Send it to us at Talking Junk Network on IG. And who knows? Maybe something be coming your way. But right back into it. If your emotions have ever felt too loud to handle, if you feel like you're constantly at war with your own mind, right? This book that I have out, this is the blueprint. The blueprint for truce. If you want to take this work to the next level, don't miss me live in October at the Community Evolution event. The Antidotes to Aces is happening October 11th, right in Florida at Northland Church in Longwood. I'll be broadcasting a session called Healing is Elemental, a conversation on gaining agency over our anger. Now you can register now and see the incredible lineup of speakers at acesmatter.org. That's ACES, ACES, matter.org. You'll find it. It's there. /AASS 2025. Let's evolve together. Meet me down there. I bet you won't see me before I see you. All right. Let's really get back into it. All right. Fuck all this. This is the real life applications that the junk behind the junk is causing you, right? So let's talk about how this junk, this fire alarm, shows up in real life. Because the theory is great, but the reality is where we live. Let's use an example, right? You're a parent. You've had a long day. You're tired. You're stressed about money. You feel unheard by your partner. Your kid, just being a kid, spills a cup of juice all over the clean floor. And you snap. You yell. The reaction is about 10 out of 10 for a 2 out of a 10 problem. Your kid is scared. You're flooded with shame. You regret everything a second later. Was your anger really about spilled juice? Hell no. The juice was just the match. The junk behind the junk was the stress, the exhaustion, the feeling of being overwhelmed and undersupported. Your fire alarm was already blaring because your needs weren't being met. And that spill was the final straw. Let's take another one. You're in a relationship. You get into a disagreement. Instead of talking it out, you go completely silent. You give them the cold shoulder. You retreat into your cave. You shut down. That's not peace. That's a weapon. That silence is a form of punishment. It's not junk. It's that junk. Where'd you learn that? Often it's a strategy where we learn in childhood. Maybe it wasn't safe to express your feelings. So you learned that going silent was the only way to stay in control. Maybe it was the only way to protect yourself. The fire alarm is going off telling you, I feel unheard or I feel scared, because instead of using your words, you just cut the wires. How about the work? Your boss piles another impossible project on your desk. You smile, say, no problem, I got it. But inside you're boiling. You feel taken for granted. invisible, and completely overwhelmed. That smile is a mask. The junk here is the belief that you have to be agreeable to be valuable. The belief that saying no will get you fired or disliked. So you swallow the anger. You take the battery out of the alarm and it turns into resentment, burnout, and maybe even physical illness right down the line. ACEs. Those adverse childhood experiences don't just affect your childhood. They echo into every one of those adult scenarios. The science is clear on this. ACEs can literally change your brain's wiring and your body's stress response system. It puts your nervous system on a permanent high alert, always scanning for threats. So that spilled juice doesn't just feel like a mess. It feels like a threat, like a loss of control. That disagreement with your partner doesn't just feel like a conflict. It feels like a threat, like you're about to be abandoned. That's the echo. But here's the good news, and I promise you, there is so much good news. Your brain can be rewired. Your nervous system can learn what safety feels like. Junk can be stored. It can be understood. Excuse me. It can be sorted. It can be put where it belongs. That's exactly what we're going to dive into next week. However, we still have more to this episode, but just a little sneak peek into next week's episode. Next week's episode is called Your Mind is a Hoarder's Den. It is a theme plugged out directly from my book. We're going to explore my central metaphor for the mind and the mental apartment. We'll talk about the different rooms, what kind of junk gets stored in each one, and how to start the process of cleaning it out, one room at a time, without getting overwhelmed. It's time to stop just living with the mess. It's time to start cleaning. Now, please enjoy an ad from our oldest sponsor.
Subscribe for more videos.
Don't forget to like, comment, and share.
That slap, that it is that one. Let's go. Everybody talking about this song, they like that's that turn, that lit, that slap, that that one, that go. Everybody talking about Dizzle new song.
I got GS jumping on a Tuesday. Dizzle drunk gang deeper than the Wu-Tang. If you love it, then you better cuff your tongue.
Dizzle, Dizzle, ready to see that. Ready to sizzle, Dizzle, ready to sizzle. Dizzle, Dizzle, on the sit, ready to sit. Dripping my lip, from my dizzle, I'm ready to sit, I'm ready to Dizzle, Dizzle, on the sit, ready to sit. I need more than a drip. I'm ready to sit, I'm ready to sit. I need more than a drip. Dizzle, 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 Dizzle.
If this episode right here is hitting home and you feel that spark of recognition, go grab your copy of Shut the Junk Up. You're going to hear me talk about it all fucking season, all right? Because you need this book, man. I'm going to be down to earth. I'm not going to keep being that person that sugarcoats your fucking life for you. All right. This is what you need to get. All right. Get it. It's available now, barnesandnobles.com. And if you don't enjoy the themes in that book, then drop me a line. We'll collab on the next one. I'm working on an extended edition. I'm working on said workbook that is mentioned in my book. All right. All of this will be explained through the season. And halfway through, not even halfway through, a couple weeks into the season, I want to see you live at the Community Evolution Summit on October 11th. We're talking workshops, transformation, and real, honest conversations about healing. From the stuff that holds us back, and you'll be changed forever, man. This right here is your call to action. Go to my page. You'll see the link. Talking Junk Network. Go be a part of change. Book your spot right now. And I'll see you there, because I'm going to be right there, front and center. All right. It's time to bring our first guest of the season out, right? She's been on the show before. Joining me in a few minutes will be Mary Beth Robinson. She is an intuitive powerhouse who helps people uncover their hidden superpowers, right? With over 15 years of experience, she's mastered the art of creating emotional clarity through powerful tools like the neuro-emotional technique and her own unique intuitive coaching. She helps people to get to the root of their junk very fast. So please stand by, and I will help welcome our guest after these short commercial breaks.
Subscribe for more videos.
Don't forget to like, comment, and share.
Tired of constant negative self-talk? Shut the Junk Up is the hothead's guide to quieting the noise. Take back control, unleash your calm, and start your journey to a happier you. Grab your copy now.
Come to the Shut the Junk Up Festival with spoken word artists, motivational speakers, and comedians.
Your ticket includes a delicious 3-course catered meal and a full night of carefully curated acts.
After the performances, the venue transforms into an exclusive after-party for our VIP guests.
So don't miss out on this one-of-a-kind event. Get your tickets now.
You cannot get your tickets now. Tickets will be for pre-sale after October, right? This is going to be February 21st, 2026, if everything works out well. If it doesn't work out well, we have an outlet right here that we're going to start coming to you back again live every week. Even if we don't have guests, or if the guests are late, or if something happens and it's just me here, we're going to have these episodes. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the themes in my book. We're going to talk about everything, right? So while we wait, let's bring up the elephants in the room. Right? The break room. We may or may not come back, but it will not be in the same fashion if we do. It's going to be integrated into Talking Junk. Talking Junk will be a longer show if need be. We will be here like a radio show for a few hours if we need to. The first thing we're going to talk about, like I said, is this mental health, the stuff that we're going through. I never thought that I'd be sitting in front of you right now on this podcast telling you that I am a certified life coach, certified in anger management and conflict resolution. Me, the hothead, me. This is why some people are trying to brand me the anger coach, the junk guru. I love all these names. Maybe I'll take one. Maybe I'll be the junk guru. I really don't care for it. I really don't care if I get the fame. I care if you get the help. Because I know anger's fucked with me. My whole life, it still fucks with me. Like we said in this episode, rage is your enemy. That is the fucking problem. It's going to take me a little while to get a hang of this, all right? I haven't podcasted in months, and I am grateful that you all decided to come back and show me your love. So continue to do that. Like, share, subscribe. But without further ado, Dr. Robinson, let me welcome you back to Talking Junk. How are we doing tonight?
Good. It's nice to talk to you a bit again. It's been a while.
It has been. It's been a few years.
Mm-hmm.
You look amazing.
So do you. And I loved your book.
Did you read it?
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What was your honest opinion?
You know what? I love it. I also love that it's, can you hear me? Is this my weird, is my microphone weird?
Nope. Your microphone is just fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
No, you know what I loved about it is that you took a really complicated and very deep and personal subject and you wrote it like a guy. You know,
well,
like
that was my aim.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's so good because, you know, I mean, women, we're used to talking to each other. We're used to talking to the men. And I don't feel like men talk to each other as easily as they talk to women. And I could be wrong, but it's great when, you know, I just love it from your perspective. I thought it was fabulous. Yeah.
You are the first guest on the show that A, has read the book, B, been on the show since I've written the book, and technically you're the first one back on since the new launch.
Oh, nice.
So I thank you very much for coming on.
Absolutely. It's so funny. I've done a lot of podcasts, but this one is my favorite.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been years since you've been on, and for you to say that it's still your favorite, it means a lot.
I think about you all a lot. I'm serious. I'm just like, I wonder how they're doing. And so anyway.
Well, I was just saying to the audience, with schedules the way they are, we haven't been podcasting for a while now. Mm-hmm. I got my certified life coach certification. I certified in anger management, conflict resolution. I'm taking voice lessons with Tara Strong and her voicelings. I'm doing a lot of things. So we kind of don't match up in time right now. So the break room might not come back in the fashion it was before, but Talking Junk is going to keep taking the shape that it needs to, and it may just take the shape of a radio station show and just keep going. We'll have a spiel of my mental health stuff. I'll have guests on after, and then if the guys have time, maybe we'll come on and do a little break room after.
That's awesome. That's totally awesome.
So let's just talk for a little while. I've prepared some questions. It's a little different this time around. I do still go off the cuff, and I do still just say what's on my mind, but I'm trying to be a little more professional. So I've prepared some questions.
Okay.
All right. Well, Dr. Robinson, on this show, I talk a lot about the junk we carry. especially from adverse childhood experiences.
Mhm.
You specialize in helping people find their superpowers.
Mhm.
Now, I have a theory that for many of us, our greatest superpowers actually forged in the fire of our deepest junk. Does that resonate with the work you do?
Absolutely. And, nobody ever asked me that question. What I find is when our superpower isn't like a job, like, oh, you're an attorney, or your superpower is being an accountant or a guitar player. It's always about, it's just always much more personal. And I feel like people are dumped into the life they were. So they have to develop their superpower.
Right.
Like, they get the opposite. So it's kind of like we've got to fight for it.
Right.
Even if, and even if even if somebody's childhood is not so, like, not traumatic, not outwardly traumatic, there's still resistance to us being who we are.
Right.
So you're
Right.
you're right on. You're absolutely right on.
So let's make it a little more concrete for the
Mhm.
listeners. A child who grows up in a chaotic home might develop hypervigilance just to
Mhm.
survive.
Mhm.
As an adult, that feels like anxiety.
Yeah.
How do you help a person transform that raw survival trait into a refined superpower, like powerful intuition?
You know what? That's interesting because I would not look at it from that perspective. I would look at, just because of my abilities, I would look first at what's in this, let's unzip this person and let's take out all the great stuff and show it to them. Um, and there's something about being seen, like, as who you really are, that's super powerful. Really, really powerful. Did you ever see the movie with Jet Li called Hero?
I have.
Yeah. And,
It's been
like,
a while, but I have.
yeah. Well, his character which is No Name. He's fighting the emperor, and the emperor, I mean, he's got like thousands of soldiers out ready to kill this guy, Jet Li's character. And he stops and he lets him go because he gets, of everyone in the whole kingdom, this is the one guy who understands him through their it's so it's powerful being seen. And
It is.
I think that starts the ball rolling, because it's like, oh my gosh, because so often, and as I'm reading your book, I could so relate to it. And I'm like, you get down in the junk, like, you can't even, you got blinders on, you can't see, you know, and I feel like when people are just, like, seen for who they are, it starts the process, and it does two things. It helps get clarity, but at the same time, it helps, and this is not, that doesn't always seem like help, but it brings up your crap, your junk,
Right.
and it's like, whew, there it is, and it's definitely a journey.
It definitely is.
Right. And so small steps and small steps. And, I think that when we make really big steps, sometimes then we have big breakdowns and then a big breakthrough.
Right. And that
Yeah.
reframes the entire experience, right?
Mhm.
So what what is a common superpower you see in your clients that almost always mistake for a flaw, or maybe a piece of junk that they when they first come to you?
Yeah, you know what? That reminds me of somebody I was a coach for in a self-development course that I took. And so I'm 55 now, but I
You
was
don't
told
look a day over 35, and I'm
I don't look
38.
a day over 54. But so I was his coach, and he's this, like, nationally prominent attorney. And I was 24 and he was 48. So it was really interesting because I really didn't have a whole lot to like, just offer. But here is the life-changing moment. I was like, listen, the deal is you come across as slimy because you don't own that you're arrogant. Like you don't own that you're arrogant. Nobody cares. Everyone loves you anyway. Just don't act like you're not arrogant. That's like, just own it.
It's
Like
almost like an own your flaws moment.
exactly, because that really is. People love him, and I'm sure people don't like him. Just like everybody. But
Right.
But to just point out, listen, you're arrogant and you are loved by people because as an attorney, a trial attorney, he's got to be able to be arrogant, and because he's super confident and it really, really works for him. And he's an advocate for people. So that is, his superpower is to be like, when the shit hits the fan, he's there. That's who he is. And sure, he's arrogant about it, but that's okay. That works. That's a part of, you can't hide it. And at some point he just started to hide it. And then it just, how you talk to someone and you're like, oh, something's just not right. Like you're like, what is that?
Something's off.
Yeah, something's off. Yeah. So that's one example, because you could say being arrogant is bad, but not for him. He's arrogant in how he takes care of people. It's not so bad.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, you read my book.
Yeah.
I call anger the fire alarm.
Mm-hmm.
A loud signal that a boundary has been crossed.
Yeah.
Using that same idea, what's another emotion you see that acts as an alarm, and what potential superpower might it be pointing to if we just learned how to use it?
I'll tell you mine. Like, mine is not so much anger. It is like it's like the opposite, just shutting down. And I know myself to be, like, oh my gosh, let's play. Let's see what your superpower is. Like, I'm enthusiastic. I'm happy, like silly, but my biggest hint that something is off is when I'm shut down. Like I waste a lot of time. I'm just not very conscious. And I certainly am not super happy. Like usually I'm like,
irritable.
Yeah, right. And like, I'm like a dog when it gets to the dog park. They're like, what? Yes. Like that's my personality. So if I don't have that, that tells me, okay, something is lurking underneath the water around me, like it's a shark circling me. Because I do know my superpower, and that's to help people find their superpowers. But what it looks like is I'm open, I'm enthusiastic, and I love people. So, and there are a lot of people who are just like, I think one of the universal things that people express when they're really present is that they really love and cherish other people. And so when we're not present with that, that's kind of like a built-in superpower that, like is in the background. So when people have something that triggers them in some way, they don't feel that as much as they can about the people around them. They know they love people, but it's not really present. I hope that helps. It
helps a lot, because I get the same way. And it's like you fall into this routine in life, and before you can notice the signs, that's all it is, right? It's a routine. You just fall back into it, and it's a cycle that you can't fucking break.
Right.
But then when you notice these things and you notice your triggers, and you notice that you're falling back into these same positions that left you in the dark in the first place, you kind of slowly start to climb out of that. And that's the key point. You got to do it slowly, because if you rush, you're going to end up back in the same spot.
Oh, yeah. You know, and the example that I would give is, like, I raised my daughter pretty much myself, and with, you know, less and less financial help from my ex-husband. So everything was up to me, and it was stressful. There was a lot going on. There's a lot that she needed. And one of the ways that I was just like, okay, I'll do it myself. And I would just kind of like check out, but I'd handle it, but not very well, you know, like financially. And I noticed with my husband, remarried to someone different, but when I did it quickly, like all of a sudden I was like, listen, we have changing situations here, and we really need to talk about finances. But when I did it quickly, I just was like, oh, okay, well, everything's fine. Here's just one of the things we need to handle. Well, a month later, I'm in the same position.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay.
And it gets a little more complex when it's the two of you.
Exactly.
It's different when you're trying to handle your own shit.
Right.
But now when you're trying to handle your shit together, it's hard.
Exactly. And I knew the second time I was like, I need to get everything together. You know, like, let me get everything together and do my due diligence so that I've got all my stuff together.
Right.
And then I was like, hey, we need to do this. And so, but I'm like, and then I need to have an ongoing conversation about this to keep this clean.
Right.
Because,
right. I see you learned from your first marriage that you don't have to separate to make those changes in your marriage.
Right. Well, I really think that my first marriage it needed to go. We both did. But you know, then I always thought, oh my gosh, I'm so wise and I got it all together. Oh my gosh. You know, it was a huge learning curve when I got divorced, a huge learning curve.
Yeah, whenever you think you got it together, that's when you don't know shit.
Right. Right, like on Deadliest Catch when they're like, okay, Arctic Ocean or Bering Sea, is that all you got? I'm all, uh-oh. That's exactly when they're going to get 50-foot waves.
Yeah, that's one thing you don't do. You don't taunt Mother Nature.
Exactly. Right.
I mean, so many people listening right now, they're stuck in the story of what happened. You know, what happened to them.
Yeah.
They see their aces as a life sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Could you maybe share another example?
Yeah.
A client who came to you with an issue clearly rooted in aces, and what surprising superpower you helped them discover was hiding underneath it all.
You know what? Here's one of my favorites, and it doesn't even go into superpowers, but this woman, we had a call, and when I tuned in, I was like, listen, we cannot talk about your superpowers yet. I'm like, there is just something hanging around. So let's talk about this and get it cleared out, and then we can talk about superpowers. And, you know, what I sensed is like that there was like either there was an abandonment in her life, or she felt abandoned by something. You know, because sometimes it's not really obvious. You know, it's just like lack of love or support or favoritism with another child or something, whatever it is. But she realized that the work she was doing was getting tainted because she was trying to not get abandoned. Like it wasn't clean. Like her, you know, her relationships with the people, she was doing contract work, and she was too concerned about like she was so good at what she does, but she would never like challenge someone and say, you know what, this isn't going to work. We've got to do it this other way because she didn't want that abandonment. So, you know what? I don't even remember what her superpower was because she got off the phone. She texted me. She's like, I'm going to need a few weeks to just like let this set in. And everything was amazing after that. And that's one of the things you talk about is once you name it, like you got to name it and you got to look into it.
Definitely.
And yeah, and she did. And she was like, I can see that I have created all of this stuff just because I have that fear. And as soon as she named it, it started to kind of just unravel, like Brene Brown says, nothing like things can only take you down from behind. Like when we see them, we're like, I don't think so. Like when we've worked with it enough, we're like,
Right.
now I'll know when I start wasting a lot of time, when I stay up way too late doing nothing, like that's like something's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Because this is about shifting from victim to what I'd like to call an emotional superhero.
Oh, totally. Totally. And, a big part of that, and I want to say this in a helpful way, but it's like instead of like victim, it's like I'm so responsible. Like I'm taking this on, and not like look at me, but like it's like two different worlds. It's a world apart from
Right.
being a victim and being like, like for me, I'm like, I need to go through my bank account and look at anything that's not supposed to be there and look at my trends and see if I've got like subscriptions that I need to get rid of, like on and on and on. And I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway.
See, that's that brain fog. But I get it because I was just describing that today. I said to one of my coworkers, I had a really bad like headache for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like a headache. Maybe towards the end, I started getting sharp pains
Yeah.
in and around my head and my eye areas, but it felt more like a brain fog.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I felt like I was sleeping, but I wasn't dreaming. And for me, that isn't normal.
Yeah.
I dream when I
Mhm.
sleep.
Yeah.
So I dreamt, I believe it was yesterday and today. And I've gotten the best sleep that I've gotten in the past 2 weeks. So that led me to determine that if I'm not dreaming, my
Mhm.
head is racing too much and it makes me not be able to rest the way I should.
That's so good. Yeah, absolutely. Because you know what? It sneaks up on us. Like I grew up with chronic back pain from like as early as I can remember, like at least by 5 years old.
It's those
Chronic
book bags from the Board of Education because my kids are going through it right now.
Right. So, but so now when my back goes out, here's how I know because I'm so good at like decreasing the pain, at blocking the pain, I get super stupid. And I'm like, "Oh, I have a back problem because I'm so good at blocking it out." You learn when you're young.
Right.
If you've got chronic pain since you were a kid, you learn to like shut it down. But when I'm dumb, I'm like, "Okay, I need some work on my back."
And that goes double for emotional trauma too. You bury
Mhm.
it deep down and you really don't notice it until you lash out in a way that is not you. It's out of character.
Right. Exactly. That's
Now,
exactly right.
if someone listening wants to begin
Mhm.
this process tonight to start looking for the power hidden in their own pain, what is the one question they can start to ask themselves to begin the journey?
Oh gosh, there's so many, but, um, I mean, I've got like a million in my head, but I would say to start that process of cleaning out, as you talked about a lot in your book, clean it out and maintain it. not just once, not just, like, oh, I'll just do this, but like really work on it. Um, one of the things you could do, and this is totally from my perspective with what I do, is look at what you love to do. Get back in touch, even if it's just like, I just want to go canoeing, or I want to go spend time like in the mountains, or, something at home, like I want to garden, or I want to clean up this garage, whatever it is. I want to pick up a hobby that I used to have. That can, that enjoyment will give you strength. And as that enjoyment works on you, stuff will come up. And then you got to read your book, Jason, or they've got to read your book so that they know, what do I do? What do I do when the shit hits the fan? Because it'll drive that, but it'll drive it in a good way. Like you'll be like,
shit will hit the fan.
It will hit the fan. I mean, the moment we start getting happier, I think it's like, our consciousness raises and everything that's pulling it out, it's like rubber bands. They have to break. It's like, okay, I gotta, gotta keep letting these go.
Can't resist forever.
Right. You know what? And at some point, if you're at all connected with what you like love, even like a few moments, that is so powerful that it has you realize the pain I'm avoiding is much worse than the pain it's going to take to look at it.
That's powerful.
Because that's, what, most of the time we're at that place where we're like, it's not so bad.
Right. It's harder to look in the mirror than it is to look through your own eyes.
Oh my gosh, it is. Oh boy, when you see it, like when I went to a college reunion with my sorority sisters, and I had so much fun this summer. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is who I am. I forgot that I'm just this funny, fun-loving, silly, but, profound person.
Easy to lose yourself.
It is. And when I got that back, I was like, hell no, I am not losing it again.
Right,
like,
fuck that.
So, right. So that was when it really got clear. It's, I'll pay the tuition, which is pain, like I'll go through the pain, and I'll go through the anxiety, and I'll go through the fear, and I'll do it because now I get that it's worth it.
Right. Because you never disenroll from the school of hard knocks.
You don't. Right. And we are always paying for wisdom with pain. Now, and I don't mean, oh my gosh, life is pain. I don't mean that at all. But it's, the reason that we don't look at things is because they're painful. So the only thing that's going to get us through is going back out the same way we went in, like a crab trap, or was it lobster?
I'll tell you right now, I will not go back in the way I came out. Okay. I do not want to go that route. Okay.
Yeah, but what I mean is
very elderly, and I will not go that route.
Well, what I mean is you experience the pain. You experience the pain on the way out. That's what I mean. Right. Because it doesn't have to, it's just, the price is for freedom is pain, is the ability, is the willingness to go through that pain and get clarity and have that higher degree of freedom and true self-expression. But, we're feeling the pain anyway. When I had my daughter, I had her at home in the bathtub with a midwife.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, okay, the baby's coming. And she's like, can you handle this? I'm like, I'm at a 10 out of 10. What's an 11?
That's a way to be
coming
optimistic.
And it was
one way or another, you're getting out of there.
And that's kind of how it is. Like the baby's coming, like when we have enough pain of what we're experiencing, it's like, well, crap. I got on this train and I can't get off of it. Like I gotta see it through.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dr. Robinson, this has been an incredible perspective shift. Thank you for joining us again. But please remind our listeners where they can find you and what's next on your journey to help people unlock their powers.
Yeah, I am. I'm on Twitter under oh gosh, it may be Mary Beth Robinson. I should know this. Okay. But also Superpower Inc., like inc.com. No, .org. Sorry. .com. Superpowerinc.com is the power station in New Jersey.
Yes, it is. I was listening to our episode last week. Shout out to Roach Killer, Stefan Sam. We got to try to have him back on too. That was an amazing episode last time, and it was an amazing episode this time. You are a very gracious guest, and I thank you again for joining us.
It was great. And tell your wife I said hi.
I definitely will. I believe she's listening in on the next room outside of the studio, so she probably heard you. I will definitely let her know you said hi.
Okay,
but
thank you.
I want to extend to you an invitation. We are on a tour of wellness here right now in Talking Junk. We're leading up to a event that I will be speaking at in October for Aces Matter, the nonprofit organization out in Longwood, Florida, and we're hoping to spearhead right after that into February 2026, the 21st of February, for our first festival. It's called Shut the Junk Up Festival. We'll have spoken word, we'll have mental health speakers, we'll have some stand-up comedy, all tied in with a 3-course meal, which you are definitely invited to. Are you still in New York?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm in Colorado.
Oh, Colorado, right. Colorado.
Right, the opposite of New York.
Quite the opposite. Same air nowadays.
Right. I know, exactly. Right, with all the fires.
I do want to extend the invitation to guest co-host with us on any episode going forward this season. Let us know whenever you have time, and I'll let you know what the guest is coming to talk about. And even if we don't have a guest, I am spearheading these episodes by myself now. We do the first hour with me running spiel, and then we're waiting for the interview, which is where you guys come in.
I would love to do that.
That works for me. If you can just send me your calendar, I'll let you know. We're here every Friday, 7 to 8:30 or 9 o'clock, depending on what we have for interviews.
Okay. All right. I'll do it.
Once more, I really do appreciate it. And just like before, give me 1 second to close this out. Remember, right? This being the first episode back of many more. I have the setup now. I have the equipment. Hopefully you can hear me better than you've heard me in any episode for the past 5 years. I've heard a lot of gripes. We have good content. We have horrible audio. But hopefully that's changed. And just remember, please, your fire alarm isn't broken. And the thing that feels like your biggest flaw might just be your greatest power in disguise. Next week, we'll explore the mental apartment metaphor and start sorting the junk room by room. Until then, stay loud, stay clear, and keep talking that shit, because we gonna keep talking the junk you hear. We love ya. Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in to Talking Junk.